Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yay.
Well, I mean, where to even start?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we start with hello.
Hello, it's me.
Okay. Sorry to everyone.
During COVID, I did go through a phase where I was sending people videos of me kind of spinning around in my backyard with the part in the background playing Hello from the other side. The other side, of course, being I'm not in my bedroom anymore. I'm outside.
Right. The other side.
People really responded to it. And that people said, are you okay?
Are you okay? And do you need medication?
Do you need to talk?
Right.
As a reminder, we can always Zoom.
But I do feel like that sentiment is actually really true for both of us right now because we are both on the other side of some major life changes.
We've had some pretty pivotal moments unfold in the last few weeks.
And that's why I know many of you have been sort of frantically wondering where this podcast was and what we're doing and why we're not posting episodes, and did we quit? Did we give up, as our producer thought that we did?
He was like, and we kind of had a moment where we were like, I think they finally decided to give up.
they finally saw the light.
They finally threw in the towel. And we said, actually, no.
I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone.
Well, even on the way over, I'm like, how do we even address the different phases of life that we've been through since our last recording? Like, do we work backwards? Do we start with where you just were and begin where we parted?
Begin where we parted. Wow. I mean, where we parted was rough.
That was a tough one.
I can't believe that wasn't like 5 years ago.
No, I know.
I'm still like, wow, that's crazy. So much has happened, but I feel like I feel like we should start with the year thing because you actually had a life change and I went to Mexico.
Well, you went to Mexico alone.
True. And many people fell in love with me, which was awesome.
No, I would say that's a very tangible thing that happened to you.
Right.
Well, I would say actually that you happened to Mexico.
Yeah. And I have a lot to say.
Some would argue the other direction.
I have more to talk about. Read that in my message in a bottle.
Sure.
I think we'll get into all of that naturally as the episode goes on. But I feel like the main tentpole event of the past month was your nuptials.
My nuptials. Yeah. As if, people are still obviously begging to hear me talk about it because we haven't talked about it enough on this podcast.
We haven't talked about your wedding at all.
We've talked about the lead up, of course.
But barely. And many people came up to me at the wedding asking if there was going to be a wedding episode of the podcast.
Rehash episode?
Yeah. And I said, I guess, because
a tell-all.
You guys want that.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, we'll give the people what they want, of course.
And your wedding had every single Floundering listener. Well, literally.
I actually think that's where we should start because Parker and I ended the evening being like, was this a wedding about us or was this a wedding about our podcast?
No, because
it came up so to the point where I was like, I'm embarrassed.
I'm sitting at my table at dinner, truly like 16 miles from you.
Oh, and I know. The gulf between us was crazy.
I'm cheering every 5 seconds because my podcast is getting promo constantly.
No, I mean, the way that the girls were swiping, like the people were liking and subscribing at their tables. We should have had QR codes and the way that we were being plugged.
In retrospect, we should have used the opportunity to give people the direct link.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there were like maybe 2 or 3 people who maybe hadn't heard of the podcast.
I mean, Parker's sister's speech, which presumably was about kind of like our budding love, ended with, you can find them on Apple Podcast and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
It was mentioned in your vows.
It was mentioned in our vows. It was mentioned in my parents' speech. Parker, I haven't even touched base with him about it, but I'm like, I think we lost the thread.
No, like I almost wanted to go reach out to him and be like, hey, I'm sorry
like
for
about,
stealing your night.
Kind of like about all of the emotion expressed in my direction. Hey, I wasn't expecting that either.
This is how I felt. I knew this was going to happen because this is how it was at your bachelorette, where I was like, this is also my bachelorette.
Yes.
And then at
the
your
merch
wedding,
for the bachelorette was Floundering merch.
It was Floundering merch.
We got those amazing mugs that one presumably would drink like a hot coffee. It's like a glass mug that you get in like Italy for hot coffee.
I've been drinking my green tea out of it.
Lovely.
And I love it for tea.
Yeah.
I love when you can I love a glass mug for tea because then you can see what color your tea is.
How much it's steeped.
And if you need, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there was a cake topper at the bachelorette too, and it was, say it with me, a flounder.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You didn't?
No.
Well, it was because it was so large and so ornate that I don't think anyone really knew what it was. Like, it kind of looked like it looked like a piece of like paper mache.
I also have a theory that the only people who see the cake at a wedding are the bride and groom. Absolutely. And no one else is privy to what the cake looks like.
Oh, certainly. Yeah,
I've never once seen a cake.
No, I was surprised to see a cake, to be honest, as the bride. I said, I
forgot we do this. Yeah.
Oh, this is where it goes. And then it disappears.
Right. They take it out
and
into the
comes
back.
Out in pieces. Well, we still have a lot of the cake frozen in my freezer. I didn't, of course, I had like a bite of it for a picture. And then was whisked away to, of course, dance to a horn version of Get Low by...
Right. So, again, with the wedding, like, I don't know where you want to start, but what a fantastic evening. The cake was only the tip of the iceberg when it came to just... Everything was perfect. Like,
stop.
There was no notes. I have no notes for this wedding.
I sobbed the entire time, start to finish. I wasn't expecting to be so emotional, but on the way over here I did open up my phone, and it was the scene from The Wolf of Wall Street where Leo's kind of like thrashing around at some party and the caption is like me dancing after 10 months of planning my wedding, like after emerging from basically 10 months of just deep trauma and pain.
Right.
And that's kind of how I felt. Like I was emerging from a process that I so deeply hated.
Right.
And was like, this is it. Like, this is the finish line. This is what we've been working towards.
How did you feel? Because I know we talked about your like having anxiety about the day itself and like wanting to be able to take it all in. When it came time for the day, how were you feeling? And like, what was the experience like for you?
I was zen as hell.
You also were the most stunning bride I've literally ever seen.
Hair and makeup team came in and I said, make me look unrecognizable.
Yeah. Your dress.
I said, you better put me in hot wife drag immediately.
Your dress was stunning and so gorgeous in the low back. Oh my God.
Okay, well, I do have a note about that. So one thing I was deeply nervous about going into it, I had like all of these just deep-seated anxieties about things that could go wrong, that if they did go wrong, it kind of would have been like a deal breaker. By the way, I went to my dentist post-wedding and they were like, your teeth are cracked from grinding them. So now I'm wearing a mouth guard.
I need to get one of those.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got a guy who will make you pay out of pocket for it.
I'm gonna so be paying out of pocket and it's gonna be awesome.
But one thing I was deeply nervous about was the dress. I'm like, if I put that on and something is wrong, like there's nothing I can do. It's just like, that's the one thing I'm supposed to be wearing all night.
Right.
And what I'm changing into is a dress from Mango or a bodysuit from Mango that's like $40.
Which was also stunning.
And advertised as very flammable. Like I think that the material was like very flammable.
Good.
Flammable?
Flammable?
Flammable.
You know what you guys didn't do was that thing with the sparklers.
Girl, well, per my Mango jumpsuit.
I guess it would have been a hazard.
I would have gone up in flames.
Yeah.
I would have self-immolated at my own wedding.
Which would have honestly been an apt.
Absolutely.
ending.
No one's doing it.
No, right.
No one's self-immolating at
All
their
weddings
own
are the same these days. No one is.
You know what's something different? Bride and groom setting themselves on fire in the name of love.
And you guys did till death did you part.
Till death did us part. So anyway, back to the dress. It ended up being totally fine. The dress was actually quite literally too low cut. Like there was one point where I bent over and my cousin was like, you got some butt crack.
Oh, low cut in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Because mine was low cut in the front.
And oh boy, was it.
And oh boy, was it.
And oh boy, and we planned that, by the way.
And I know that it's like probably not, it's probably like a little gauche to be going tits out at a wedding. But
well, I said between the two of us, we need to be wearing nothing. So
right. You had ass,
no
you had ass showing. I had tits showing.
And you had tits showing. I mean,
anyone have any questions? Like,
and what is a creative partnership if not that?
No, and
one
I also
shows
think
ass and one shows teat.
Exactly. And I also think it's important when you're at an event to be aware of the people who are gonna just go straight for the tits.
Sure.
Because it's helpful data for me.
Well, I was gonna say, how many talk to me about the demographic of people whose eyes were just resting gently on your chest.
It was who you'd expect.
Of course.
You know, like the young feral men who probably have wives.
Yeah.
Which I get. Like, I'm not shaming you at all. Like, if they're offered
to you that way, what are you gonna?
I would look at them too.
Absolutely.
And I did feel like there were a couple people who like were avoiding me.
The harlot.
Yeah, because they were like, ooh.
It's like, she's a plant. She is a test from God, and I am not talking to her.
There was one person in particular who like refused to acknowledge me. And we were like
someone who knows you already.
Someone who did not know me.
Okay.
But who we were like around in the same
okay.
We were hanging out in the same circles at the wedding. And it was a guy. And I was like, is it the
boobs?
Is it because I'm sorry. Like, I didn't want to be this way.
Well, it's like all of a sudden you put a shawl on and 12 men come up to you and they're like, and so I'd love to kind of just hear more about this podcast.
Yeah. Right. Like, ask me about my podcast.
Yeah.
Period.
No. You
and
you were a showstopper.
Stow shopper. Thank you.
The dress, my God.
I mean, but your dress.
Well, us together as we've discussed.
Really.
It was a night, of course, about union and marriage between myself and Parker, but it was also a night about us being unveiled as a creative duo in front of all my friends and family.
It was so beautiful. Your vows were beautiful. The venue, like,
it went about as well as it could have.
Yeah.
There were, of course, snafus. For instance, I don't know if you caught this, but when my parents were walking me down the aisle, we had like kind of discussed like, oh, generally speaking, you know, you kiss your parent on the cheek, you know, you hug them, maybe they shake Parker's hand. And like, we absorbed all of that when we were told that information. And then when push came to shove, I turned to my mom and accidentally kissed her directly on the lips.
Yeah.
And then turned to my dad and accidentally kissed him directly on the lips. And then turned to everyone and said, we do this.
Yeah. No, I think everyone caught that.
Amazing.
Because of the joke and the fact that the room erupted in laughter.
Absolutely, sure. And then during vows, at one point I like looked down and laughed, thinking it would be kind of like a sweet, you know, little giggle moment. And snot in like 2 snot streams the shape of my nostrils fell from my nostrils onto my shoes.
Oh, good. I missed that.
Amazing.
Hopefully there's a pic.
Yeah, I think there's like 4 people who missed that.
Yeah. Well,
but aside from that, hey, those are small casualties.
Yeah. And I have to say, like, this is obviously such a small part of a wedding, but the food was unbelievable.
The food was good.
Like, the appetizers, I was like, wait, are we eating dinner? Because there was so much food during cocktail hour.
Yeah. Well, the way that we liquored people up too, I'm like really feeling eternally blessed that we fed you guys the way that we did.
I'm glad too as well.
Because even me, who was not able to consume anything because of a line of aunts and uncles who I was kind of making my way through the entire evening, I drank in such a way, like I drank the way that 2010 Isabelle drank, which was like, yeah, fill up a Poland Springs water bottle full of vodka and I'll nurse that all night. No worries.
No worries.
And I won't be hungover the next morning.
Were you hungover?
Of course. Yeah. But I did drink probably like just about that much.
Well, you were not a sloppy bride. So that's good.
Well, the band helped. I felt like any chance for me to be sloppy was like immediately channeled into dance floor elation. That band hit.
The band was incredible. When they did Proud Mary, I said, it's over.
I said, it's over for you hoes.
Like, and I'm like the person at the wedding who's like, I'm very engaged with the band.
Of course.
Like, I want them to know me and sort of wonder, like, maybe.
I'm going up and I'm beckoning. I'm saying more
I'm
harm.
saying Tina Turner and me are sort of similar.
Yeah, of course.
So
I have been called the Tina Turner of podcasting. And so.
Yeah. So yeah, I was very, very much involved with that.
Absolutely. I mean, they were hitting to the point where this was a regret. I at one point my lovely aunt comes up to me and was like, I would love a picture of you and your younger cousins. And I said, of course. And then the second I said, of course, the band starts playing Hot in Here. And I literally elbowed two cousins directly in their necks. And I said, I have somewhere to be.
I will kill you.
I will kill you. I will never speak to you again if I take this picture
get in
with
my
you.
way.
Yeah. I did send an apology text to my aunt the next morning. I was like, hey, about what I did to your daughter with my elbow.
Right. I'm so sorry for any medical bills. I can't pay them, but sorry.
I know
for
she's
you.
like an athlete and kind of like has a career ahead of her. And if I did anything to jeopardize that, like, of course, take that up with Maxim.
Take that up with not me,
my producer.
I'm actually on vacation. So.
And certainly don't reach out to Carey because she's in Mexico.
No, yeah, certainly. Also, what am I going to do?
Yeah, of course. I'm so happy you had fun.
Oh my God, it was so fun.
I mean, you were a beacon. I could see you the whole night because of your dress and your tits.
The globes were just...
The glow of your chest from across the room was just hard to ignore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like peak emotional high for me through and through. And then we had to part ways and Parker and I were left to like pick up the pieces in California together.
Yeah.
Like
and that was also incredible.
I mean, it was incredible, but the emotional hangover was, of course, intense.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just comes from like you plan for something for so long and then it happens and you're like, what am I living for now?
Well, and then I was like, when do I get to be the center of attention that way again? I'm confused.
Yeah, I guess you guys have to just keep like renewing your vows and having like really big celebrations.
Of course, yes, yeah. Which is within our budget without question. Yeah. So that should be no problem at all.
I sent you guys $200 for your house. So
we saw.
You'll be good.
Yeah, no. And by the way, that's like an upper crust gift.
Is it?
One person contributing 200 for sure.
It was actually 222.
I know. You gave me an angel number. I said, of course, my girl's giving me an angel number. And we actually won't touch that. We're putting it in its own investment account.
Well, I was like, I actually spent a lot of time thinking about it because it's so odd to be giving money to a fund that is going to require so much. It's like anything I give is just going to be like a drop in the damn bucket here.
Well, and of course now in this economy, we're like, I cannot believe we had the audacity to create a future house fund. Like what we should have been doing is like hawking
dozen eggs fund.
Yeah, absolutely. Busking for rent money.
Yeah.
Dozen eggs fund.
Chip in 22 cents
exactly
for our egg budget.
Yeah, $2.99 for each of my people would go a long way for our breakfast.
That would go a long way. And that's that because by the time I went to give you guys gift, all the other stuff from the registry had been. This is what I always do. I wait till the last minute and then.
Oh, same. I mean, hey, I went to a dear friend's wedding and gave after the wedding. I've done that
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no shame.
Honestly, a few people did that and I was like, that's kind of huge.
Yeah.
To get like a surprise gift.
After the fact, yeah, you're like, now I'm in my emotional slump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's this? Email from whatever the fuck, Lola. What is it called?
Zola.
Oh, Zola. Sorry. Zola.
Not sponsored, but certainly could be.
Could be.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
Well, not to jump the gun, but I have been receiving really heavy-handed messages from the universe about how I need to bear children.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the fact that you've been solicited by like podcast companies for trying to monetize our podcast.
Oh, that also. Yeah.
I looked into the one that you sent me, by the way, made not a goddamn ounce of sense.
Multiple people keep emailing me about this podcast and my other podcast too.
I mean, hey, look,
and I'm like, what
the universe wants it, who am I to push it away?
And also like one of them wants to like, they're like, we edit and like produce podcasts. And I'm like, but you already see that I'm doing that.
Right.
So
I'm just,
what can you offer me?
Paying you to do that twice over?
Right.
Yeah.
But also every time I get one, I'm like, yeah.
Hey,
my listeners, we have a lot of them.
We're in demand.
Yeah.
Well, I also find what's funny is the one that you sent me, it was like, put your podcast behind a paywall. I'm like, you think that's the problem?
That'll work.
I'm like, I got a single view on the last 3 things that we've posted. So I don't think a paywall is going to do much for us.
Dude, my solo podcast, it's like, I keep putting out this content that I actually think is like literally so good.
Your podcast is divine.
I think it's so good. And I actually was talking in therapy about it. And I was like, this is the first time ever that I've genuinely been like, oh, this is literally good. And like, I think it's good and I would listen to this. truly no one is listening, but like it's all good.
But you're charting in Fiji. We've discussed
Except
that.
that I'm charting in Fiji, but I don't know how that's possible.
We've got a couple listeners, by the way, in France.
We
and
do.
actually, as I'm saying that out loud, I've got 2 cousins who live there. So a race.
Well, that's great.
Sure. Yeah. A random would be fun.
I'm sure we'll get a random.
Yeah. We'll find a random who doesn't hate us.
Side note, Benson Boone has a new song out.
Yeah.
And it's been showing up everywhere I go.
So it's not lost on me that the most success we've ever had has stemmed from Benson Boone's community coming for us in a way that actually made me fear for my life.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel safe
No.
on TikTok anymore because of what they're saying to us. But we got 12,000 views. And
I'm happy with that.
I mean, too.
And I think that we need to be talking more about different public figures.
Absolutely.
Because I did a TikTok video about Karen Reed the other day, and it has like 50,000 views. And I'm like, oh, if you just like talk about stuff that people are talking about, this is a very tried and true.
I'm like, so people don't want Jungian analysis about a dream I had.
Interesting. But they will listen to me talk about O.J. Simpson.
Well, I do want to hear your reaction to something that someone posted on Instagram, which was that we shouldn't be coming for Benson Boone because ultimately he is a straight man whose habit and hobby is doing flips. He's not a straight man whose hobby is being a Nazi. And for that, we should be grateful. And I said, are those the 2 options? A man flipping off a piano with the little mustache or being a neo-Nazi? I'm
with
sorry.
A mustache?
I don't like either of those.
Right. No, I don't think that's a false binary that we've been forced into.
Yeah.
Now, that everyone's just normalized. Like, oh, as long as he's not a Nazi,
literally,
we can like him.
Sure.
When it's like, that's fine. I reserve the right to wish that Benson Boone wasn't around.
Right. I'm not critiquing his character.
I'm not even critiquing his music.
No. He's probably a lovely, decent guy. Like, it has nothing to do with that. I'm just saying, like, if your act is flipping, but you're a singer.
Right.
I don't know.
Has he heard of Cirque du Soleil? He would be a great fit.
Absolutely. Or street performing.
What's that?
Like performing on the street.
I thought you said straight performing. I was like, I think
he's doing that already, of course. Yeah.
He's a bisexual man performing as straight.
So like, would I prefer, my straight men flipping off of pianos versus like throwing heils in the streets? Absolutely. But if there could be a third option that was, neither of those things,
right,
I think I would choose that too.
There's just people who I think are like really worthy of having platforms like Benson Boone's, but who don't. Like Anna Sophia Robb.
Oh.
I'm like, where did her career go?
I did a yoga class with her once.
I feel like we talked about this.
And the entire time she did a yoga class, I sat with my legs crossed staring at her.
Yeah.
To the point where I think the instructor was like, and you in the back, can you maybe step outside with me for a second?
I think she's so beautiful.
Oh, she's stunning.
Yeah.
Her work in Bridge to Terabithia, my lord.
It really changed my life.
I think she was also in Because of Winn-Dixie.
Oh my God, I forgot about that, but I think she was.
Yeah, with Dave Matthews, who launched a brief acting career.
That's crazy.
I know.
Did he play Winn-Dixie?
He played the dog. Wait, Winn-Dixie's the dog,
right?
Voice
the dog. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah. What's that show with the guy who it's called Wilfred, where the guy Elijah Wood plays a dog?
Seriously?
I cannot believe I'm even trying to make this connection. Can we move on?
Yeah,
new topic.
We're really bouncing around, and it's because we're
just excited.
We're excited.
We're just thrilled. Yeah. It's been a minute.
Wait, but do we want to touch on anything else about the wedding before we move forward?
I mean, I think that covered it. Just that I had my one flashbulb memory before the night ended was us clasping hands in the middle of the dance floor. And it was one of those things where like, it felt like the scene in, have you seen Sinners yet?
No, I need to.
Oh my God. So I won't give this part away because it's a magical scene. It just felt like a very cinematic moment where like the world was moving around us, but we were standing still. And we were like, our love is so powerful that we actually do need to take a break. Like we agreed that we needed to take a break because
Did we not agree before that?
We did.
Okay.
But then I think in that moment where we kind of renewed our vows on the dance floor in front of a lot of people,
right,
we felt it was time to
Well, we knew it was the last time we were going to see each other before literally today.
Yeah.
So
it's been almost a month.
It's been a month.
It will have been a month on Monday.
Yeah.
A lot
we've
happens
barely
in a month.
spoken. Yeah.
You've welcomed life.
Which I had to get into that.
Were you in the room?
Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's say
I have a lot to say. Yeah, it's my flip.
Oh, okay. So. Amazing. So should we launch into that then?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, amazing. Who's gonna
take it away?
Remind people.
Yeah.
So in every recording session, Carey and I acknowledge that we spend time apart, and during our time apart, it's always bad, as we know. But we also have to acknowledge that life moves on when we're not together, and within those moments apart, there are high moments, what we call flips, and low moments that we call flops. And when we reunite during these kind of cosmic energetic moments, we like to share them with each other. So you start, because I got to hear about this.
Yeah. So a few days ago, I witnessed the miracle of life. I was present for the birth of my niece, my sister's second child, and she wanted me to be there in the room for various reasons. And I was like, sure. I kind of like didn't register that it was going to be that. Like, I knew I was going down to like be there, but I just wasn't sure like what the vibes were. But yeah, that was crazy. I've just never witnessed that before. And my main takeaway was it was so funny to me when Kelsey was, and sorry, Kelsey, for like blowing up your spot on this. I did not tell her I was talking about this, but when she was in labor and, it's painful. She didn't have drugs.
She did a natural birth.
Yeah.
Was that her, that's
yes.
what she wanted?
Yeah.
And did she do that with Mason, her first son?
Yes, with Mason, she was at a birth center, so she was not at the hospital.
Okay.
With this, she had to be at the hospital because the baby had some like abnormal blood tests in the beginning, DNA tests, that they just wanted to make sure that there was, adequate support if anything were to happen. But so yeah, she was at the hospital. She never wanted to do an epidural, so she did do like labor in the bath for like literally 10 seconds because the baby came so fast. Like, it was actually crazy.
Whoa. Wait, how long was she in labor for?
So her contraction started at 11 p.m.
Okay.
And then the baby was born at 4:16. So we got to the hospital. They got to the hospital at like 2 something. I got to the hospital around 3.
Okay.
And
so you arrived and it was like go time.
When I got there, she was not like she wasn't even like in the room yet.
Okay.
We were like in the hallway, like getting her like paperwork done. And then we went to the room, and truly like an hour later, the baby was born. Yeah.
I have a coworker who has only done natural births, and she's like, yeah, they went by, like, the whole point of natural births is that they're actually supposed to go by a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Like, the whole process moves a little bit faster. And even still, it was like 6 to 8 hours in labor. Like 6 to 8 hours in labor is considered like hyper speed, warp speed for birth.
I thought we were going to be there I thought I was going to be there like all day.
Whoa.
But I left at 7 a.m. because baby had been alive for like 3 hours by then.
And did she get to leave at that point?
No, she stayed overnight at the hospital, but then she went home the next day.
Wait, what was the vibe like in the room?
So,
and how many people were in there aside from you?
There was a lot because she had her doula.
Okay.
Oh, I have to tell you. Oh my God. Okay. I'll tell you after this. But she had her doula, her husband, obviously. There was a photographer, of course.
Amazing.
Kelsey, she had media.
Yeah.
She alerted the
they had a press pass.
Well, when I got there, I was like checking in at security, and they were like, oh, and your friend Carmen is here too. And I was like, who the hell is Carmen?
It's like a girl with 12 film cameras hanging off of her chest.
And then she came in and she had her camera, and I was like, oh, that's Carmen.
Was she going like in between leg? Was she getting like...
She wasn't getting like all up in there.
She was, okay, cool.
But it's about, capturing the moments of, I don't really know, but I think I was in some photos because I looked cute. And I was
You're like on your phone.
I literally was at literally 2 a.m, like putting on makeup so I could go to
you got to get your beat on
the hospital.
Yeah, Carmen's there.
I knew. My sister does. She likes to have.
Yeah, she's an HMU team.
Yeah. And then there was like a team of probably like between any given time between like 1 and 5 nurses.
Okay.
So there was like one main nurse, and then there were like a bunch of other ones who were kind of coming in and out. I don't know if it was because there was like nothing else going on and they were just kind of like vibing.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, it was a little bit chaotic because the room was small and the bathroom where she was laboring was even smaller.
Where she was like, okay, right.
Because she wanted to be in the tub. Yeah. But anyway, so that was crazy. And like, yeah, when she was in active labor and like the sounds that she was making, I actually never felt more connected to her.
What? Well, it's like our most primal shared state.
Yeah. And I felt like I've never had a child or experienced that pain. But in my moments of emotional pain, I feel like I make similar noises.
You're like, you and me, girl, we're not too different.
When I'm crying on the podcast, that's how I felt.
Yeah, exactly. You, of course, with your legs spread, and then me, of course, publicly crying on my show.
Crying about
something. You and I have some common ground.
Yeah, it really felt like we're the same now.
Yeah.
I can understand your experience. You can understand mine.
We see each other
right
very clearly in this moment.
And I've birthed, creative ideas.
Absolutely. Well, you've birthed 2 shows.
Podcast episodes.
Two little seedlings. That didn't come out of thin air.
No, I had to work hard for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had to scream and yell.
Yeah, I mean, some would say this has been like almost 2 years of labor.
Yeah.
You said 6 hours?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Pish posh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
So yeah, that was amazing. Truly, like, I know it's so cliche, but there was not a baby and then there was a baby. And obviously she was there inside of my sister, and then she was outside of her.
Of course.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Did she come out crying?
She came out, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because like...
Well, because that's like, of course, an eternal fear is like baby comes out, no cry.
Right.
As I know from, of course, The Pit and other shows. You don't want that.
I need to watch that show.
I also have to get into that later. That will serve us again in this conversation. Don't worry.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's just so funny how like anyone's experience with birth is through hearsay and like storytelling and of course like whatever grotesque representation of it we get through TV.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's you in the room.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I guess it's my turn now to go through that.
Yeah. And like it was so real. Like, because it was. The one like main memory that I think I will take with me is afterwards when the doula, she took like the whatever
baby
the thing of the
whatever it's called.
No, like the placenta was inside of like a tray, and she picked it up and she was like, "This is my favorite part." And she
eats it. We're like, no.
She put some whipped cream on it.
My favorite part.
No, but she was like, I love the placenta. Like, it's so cool. And so she like showed it to us. She like put gloves on and was basically like a science class. And I legit was like, I did not realize like the placenta is an actual organ because I'm an idiot and I don't know these things.
Of course. I mean, in my head, I'm like, it is like fluid.
I thought it was like a fluid.
Sure.
But it's fully like an organ with like a sac that the baby's inside.
And it, wow.
So it's like basically like
and
a
you
snuggie.
pass it in that full form?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. The baby comes out of the placenta and then comes out of you, but then you also pass the placenta.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about our bodies and my understanding of this.
Idea.
I'm like, so you're telling me that there is a new organ.
Right. And it gets created in there.
Did your sister want to do anything special with it?
Yeah, so she does the thing where they make your placenta into like capsules and then you take it.
Yeah.
So she
I
just
think
got
that,
those today.
Yeah, I know a few people who did that, which is apparently like, I mean, it's chock full of nutrients, of course, and it's no gummy vitamin like the one that I'm, slugging down every morning and pissing out every day. But
yeah, it's supposed to, I guess, help you with like energy or something.
How many pills do you get?
I think she got like 100 something.
Whoa,
like a bunch.
And you just pop them for like however many days until they're gone?
Yeah, I think
post-birth?
So. I don't know, but
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, seeing the placenta and her like opening it up and like seeing the actual like sac, and she was like, so the baby was inside there.
I can't believe you saw this with your own eyes.
Yeah.
Like that is, and this is what I'm saying. It's like no one sees this with their own eyes until they're in there.
Right. I feel so blessed.
Yeah, it's just such a rare, and to be there as a sister and not as like a significant other, that's a very rare thing.
Yeah, and I also was like, I don't really know what my role is here because I can't do anything to help you.
You're like, you're doing great.
I literally was like, do you need some water? Do you need a snack?
Like a Diet Coke or...
But I think she just wanted like the extra presence.
Yeah.
So I was like, let me just breathe. And
were you like holding her hand? Were you like physically touching her or?
Not really, because like I said, the bathroom was quite small,
right.
And I was definitely not the most necessary like person.
Yep.
And she was like, you know, she was in it. Like, I don't even think she would notice if I was in there or not.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure I'm sure your soul kind of like leaves your body a little bit, or you just enter into some, not fugue state, but you just probably enter into a new dimension. Wow. That is so special. Yeah. And did you get any time, like, were you still in Texas when the baby was brought home? Like, did you get any nesting time?
I ended up extending my trip for a day because I was the baby was supposed to come earlier than she did. And so whatever, the timing wasn't super aligned, but it actually ended up working out because the flight that I was supposed to be on Wednesday got canceled because of bad weather. So I stayed for like another extra day. So we had 2 days of, just like sitting with the baby and like introducing Mason to the baby.
Well, I was going to say, is Mason excited to be a big brother?
He's literally obsessed with her. And every time he comes into the room and he's like, hold baby. Because like all he wants to do is hold the baby. And he actually gets like really mad if he doesn't get to hold the baby.
He's like, well, actually my property, my baby.
Like he's sitting like they're trying to like feed him like lunch or whatever. And he like refuses to eat because like the baby is around and he's like, all done. Like, it's like, oh my God, he's so cute.
Oh, yeah. Big brother. Does he have a Big Brother shirt? Does he have Big Brother merch?
I'm sure he has Big Brother merch. If anyone was to buy Big Brother merch, it would be my sister.
Well, it's so funny because I feel like back to the wedding and like how it's so funny to be reminded of what you are. Like I am an older sister. Like I am an older brother. And it's funny because when a new baby is introduced, that's like one specific moment in your life where you're meant to feel so proud about your role of like big whatever
you take on
are.
A new identity.
I'm like, I need a big sister shirt and my brothers need little brother shirts and we need to be wearing those in every family picture.
Wait, this is going to be going back to the wedding and stuff we'd already talked about, but I forgot to mention this, that meeting your family was like such a joy.
Oh, well, they all pulled me aside separately and they're like, where is she?
Your mom beelined to me at the welcome drinks.
Well, she's obsessed. She's gagged.
I was like, I love you so much. And then I was like, I have to meet the rest of the family. And like, your dad gave me the biggest hug.
Of course.
That hug will like stay with me forever.
Well, because they know what you do to me, which is keep me sane and normal.
And then your brothers, like when I saw them, they both just the look in their eyes was like,
there she is.
I felt so one with the family.
Oh yeah, well you are. And you want to know why? Nice. It's because we've talked about this, but they have like an actual parasocial relationship with you. Like they know you so well through this show. And because of course I call them all the time and I'm constantly talking about my girl. Can't stop gabbing about my girl. So when they see you in the flesh, they're like, that's my daughter.
Right.
That's
and I'm
my
like, this is my family.
And this is my family.
And I'm going to be coming on family vacations.
No, of course. I mean, we would be so lucky. And we could, of course, have what you would love about, I think, our family vacations is that silence and alone time.
Paramount.
And then the only time we really gather and get animated is when we eat. And everything else is like, you do you.
Right. Like go to the lake.
Go on a walk. Right. Get your yayas out. And then we come together over a meal. We break bread and then we part again.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. We're not the game family. We're not
I like games too.
Well, you could teach us. We're not good at learning new things.
But we could play Taboo. That's an easy game.
Taboo's easy. Or Salad Bowl's a good one too.
Oh, I love Salad Bowl.
Yeah. Something that doesn't require like counting or rules.
And that is like drinking based.
And that is, of course, drinking based. Yeah. That would be paramount for us. Yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love your family. I felt very embraced by them. But anyway, that's my flip. Witnessing the miracle of life.
I actually don't know if I can follow that.
You do. You have to.
Well, and I'm also just like, I'm looking into your eyes and I'm like, behind those eyes, you have seen birth. You have witnessed that experience. Like I'm not over that.
Yeah. And she's so perfect. And her name is Meadow.
And we like Meadow Soprano, who's iconic iconic. And
Iconic.
Yeah, one of the best characters on that show. Meadow's so pretty.
She's so
Middle name?
cute. Maxine.
Are you kidding? Meadow
Yeah.
Maxine?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a firsty midi.
I
You
know.
have to go firsty midi for that. You're going to be the best auntie ever.
I love being an aunt. It's so
You're going to teach her
amazing.
so many important things about the universe
I hope
and
so.
consciousness.
I hope she takes to me and is nice.
She'll imprint. I have no doubt.
Let's hope.
I have no doubt. So does this mean you're going to be like part-time Texan?
Maybe.
Are you going to be making trips?
I'm going to probably go back down sometime this summer, even though it's going to be hot as balls.
That's okay. You'll spend time inside. Baby doesn't need to be outside in weather like that.
No, babies don't go outside, which is
No.
what's awesome about babies.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And why I can't wait to be an aunt myself.
That also got me thinking, I don't know what your plans are, but like you basically can't have kids for like the next 5 years.
Oh, girl, no.
Because like we
have a child that
we
we
have
need
a
to tend
child
to.
and like this will end as soon as baby happens for you.
Unless we're doing kind of like live birthing and, you know, kind of like tutorials on breastfeeding.
recording.
Like we could, of course, you could become my doula.
Sure.
Now that would be an interesting journey, of course.
Talk about floundering.
I
mean, I would probably kill your child by accident.
I'm like, we're doing an experiment where we're not allowed to Google anything, but Carey is going to birth my child.
No YouTube allowed.
No YouTube or external resources allowed, but Carey will be the only doctor in the room.
Totally. No, but yeah, it would destroy our plans for world domination.
Absolutely. No, of course. We'll draw up the papers.
Yeah, just let me know.
No birthing allowed.
And if you're also because literally while I was in Texas, sorry to be talking so much, but I guess it's a podcast.
I've got nothing interesting. You are the most interesting thing to me today.
While I was in
continue.
Texas, so I have a group chat with 3 of my like best friends from high school,
Mm-hmm.
and all 3 of them are married. Like whatever, they've
Any kids of their own?
So this was the thing. One of them is pregnant and
Okay.
she's due in August. One of them texted us when I was in Texas, letting us know that she's pregnant, and we were all like, "Yay!" And she was due in November, and so yay,
So that's 2 out of 3.
great. And then the third one also was like, well, our babies might have the same birthday because I'm also pregnant and due in November.
That's 3 for 3.
So that's 3 for 3. And I'm just sort of the lone wolf over here. No prospects. And
To have that revealed in a single group chat in one foul swoop is
I had a bit of a crisis,
pretty
honestly,
scary.
about it. Like,
do they live separately? Like, do they live in different states?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like the biological clock ticked at the same time for all 3 of them?
Yeah.
That's wild.
So that was awesome. And like, even as someone who doesn't really want to have kids or is not like centering my life around that,
Sure.
I still was like, oh, like what's like, I'm having a crisis. Like, what is my life?
Yeah.
Because these people are having babies
Yeah.
and I'm not going to hear from them ever again.
It is really jarring being around like a peer with a baby where you're just like, whoa.
And your life now is different. And also this group chat is about to become really insufferable for me.
It's about to
Because
be
y'all are
baby
going to be talking about
pictures.
strollers.
Yeah.
And I want to be over here being like, remember how I have a podcast?
Yeah. How about you like and fucking subscribe like everyone at Isabelle's wedding?
Seriously.
Fall in line, girls.
It's like, just because you have a baby, actually, you having a baby, you should be listening to this even more because you're going to have all that time where you're breastfeeding.
Well, actually, this is what I've learned is that young moms do flock to this podcast.
Young moms flock to Floundering.
Mhm. And it's true because there is so much sitting time. There's so much time boob out or bottle out or hovering over a baby because you're afraid the baby will stop breathing any given moment.
And like, you don't have brain cells because
you gave
like,
them all to your baby.
You gave them all to your baby.
You lost them in the placenta.
And you're like,
and then you tried to eat them in the
baby
pill.
talk and being like,
Well, that's what I think I'm most afraid of, where I'm like, will I just start talking to all of my friends as though they're children?
Right.
Because I do that with Roscoe, and I have picked up on that tendency now with young people. I'm like, oh, I'm speaking to you like I speak to my puppy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, the good news for us is that we now have a new demographic that we can target, and that is new moms who need to listen to something besides a baby scream.
Mm-hmm. And also new babies.
And also new babies who will
floor.
become listeners. That's
Eventually.
the entry level,
Right.
Of course. That's the unpaid tier.
They're-
Everyone else needs to
They're
start
all going to
paying
be
up.
iPad kids.
Of
So might
course.
as well throw up on YouTube.
Absolutely. We'll start. How about you start with the kids are not all right? That's a fun one.
That's a great episode.
Teach your children well. Okay?
That's what they say.
We have resources for everyone here at Floundering.
Okay, but you have to do your flip.
So it's actually a flop.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it's honestly, please bear with me because it's just going to feel so silly compared to what you just shared, which is the genesis of New Life. But the flop is not this, but I went to Charlotte XCX. I went to Charli XCX at Barclays Center on night 1 in Brooklyn. And the concert itself was like pure magic and also just a masterclass in performance. Like, girl is not singing the entire time, but she is thrashing her body around, and like the lights and the composition and her outfits, like that girl knows how to throw a fucking party. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
It's like you in a basement DJ set, but it's actually just the Barclays Center.
What was, if you don't mind sharing, what was your like substance of choice, or did you have one?
I drank.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I drank a lot. I was also like, I was a little bit nervous to be, and this is actually a good segue into my flop. So I was nervous going into it because I'm really photosensitive, and like it's a very obviously like strobe forward concert. So I was like, I am afraid I'm going to have like an overstimulation moment. Like I'm just going to kind of like have an anxiety attack moment because of like the unending barrage of lights that are happening. That didn't happen. And I was really drunk. What was more terrifying and the flop of it all was the actual architecture of the Barclays Center.
Oh.
Have you seen anything there?
I actually don't think I have.
They need to have people sign waivers before they buy nosebleed tickets because
that's scary as fuck.
Girl, I was at an 80-degree grade.
Yeah.
Like me just sitting there, I could feel my body, like the inertia was pushing me forward, even if I was standing still. So
that's really scary.
Literally the entire time you're in a sensory deprivation tank. All of the lights are turned off, save for strobe lights down in the pit. And you're standing up and you're trying to thrash the way that a good brat doll would. And every time you thrash, you're like, my feet are off the ground and there's forward momentum.
Right.
We managed to survive, but there was one moment, it was the last song. It was I Love It, featuring, of course, Iconopop. And I'm bouncing around. I'm doing my thing. I bounce up. I land, and the tips of my feet, my toes, land into the cup holders of the seats in front of me. So I'm literally like pegged into the cup holders, bracing myself against the people in front of me. You have, I'm not exaggerating, 3 inches of concrete in between your seat and the seat in front of you. The cup holders saved my goddamn life.
That is scary as fuck.
Paperwork needs to be signed for people who are going to concerts there. Or they shouldn't be booking tickets that up high.
Right. Or whatever. Like you should. Yeah. Because I saw Adele once at similar vibe.
Experience, of course.
At one of those places. It was not Barclays, but it was like in DC. I forget what it's called. But similar. I was in the nosebleeds and like there was no thrashing.
No.
The most upbeat song is Set Fire to the Rain.
Oh, well, hey.
And hey.
I'm moshing cry?
At that point, but most people were not. But even then, I was like, I'm going to fall to my death.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't even imagine. Because people are jumping and stuff, right?
Oh, the whole place was absolutely popping off, which was so much fun. But I woke up the next morning and literally the whole night, I'm like, there is a death impending somewhere around here or a broken bone or something.
I'm honestly surprised that there were not injuries.
So there was a TikTok of someone who was filming and like across the way, you see someone do what I thought that I was on the precipice of, which is like they jump up and they start tumbling over rows and rows of people and they get to the glass barrier, like the glass barrier separating the nosebleeds from like
the below section,
the fall to their death.
Yeah. Caught
this person and they survived. But I'm like...
But also all the people that you're rolling over...
Of course.
You're going to break their necks.
Absolutely. Certainly that's not a positive experience for anyone, even though those necks probably did end up slowing that person down.
Right. Like good actually that they were there.
And those little soldiers really did what they had to do to save that person's life. But so anyway...
And hopefully it's like, when someone's drunk driving and like they get in a car accident, but like the fact that they're drunk was like good for them.
Yes.
It's like that.
No, exactly. Because your body is like loose,
Limber,
and
yeah.
limber.
That's how it is.
Right. Like if you're going to
XCX.
tumble to your death, you better have had a pitcher of margaritas.
Just to keep your body all nice and loose.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just so the bones don't kind of like tense up and crack.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, the whole time I'm like, can you imagine the humiliation of being the girl who croaked at the Charli XCX concert and I'm in a little tank top with a black bra under it? That's how my parents have to identify me.
Yeah.
In a little skirt from Zara.
With a blood alcohol level of 0.08.
With a pitcher of margarita coursing through my, like, that's how my parents have to say goodbye to me.
Right.
Is dressed like the whore I am.
Look, it could be worse.
It could be so much worse, of course.
You died doing what you loved. Moshing. And jumping. And
moshing
sweating.
and thrashing. Yeah. The other flop tied to Charli, I would see her again, but I would see her in the pit. That's just kind of, that goes without saying.
I want to be on solid ground.
Oh, for sure. I need to be like, all 4 appendages need to be touching something that's grounding and at sea level. But so during every concert, she has, of course, like someone on the Jumbotron doing the apple dance. And I forget who it was my night. The second night was Claro. Icon.
Oh, like a famous person.
Like a famous person.
Okay.
She'll find someone in the crowd who is famous. Okay, and like, I think during Coachella, it was Matt and Bowen.
Okay.
Like she just seeks people out who are kind of in her orbit.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the broken person I am, I'm like,
me?
What if it was me? And so the whole time in my head, while Charli is performing in front of me, I'm like rehearsing the dance. I'm like,
just in case.
If I am called to this moment, like I cannot, me in the literally touching the back of the Barclays Center. I'm like, if I am called, like I cannot fuck this up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do choreo on the spot like that.
It's good that you were practicing.
Well, of course. Now I'm ready.
Yeah.
Night 7, if she's here for that, I'm ready for that.
And she's probably listened to the podcast by then.
No, and of course. And like we've been in touch with your people.
Wait, so who was it your night?
Like some influencer who I think she's friends with. I actually don't know who it was.
So it could have been you.
Right, of course, an influencer in her orbit.
Yeah.
Like myself. I'm like, do cameras even work up where I was? Like, is there Wi-Fi back where I was? Or am I kind of at like, am I in airplane mode at that point?
They don't have cell towers up there.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like taking altitude sickness pills. It's
genuinely, I'm like happy that you are okay.
No, I actually, I haven't looked on Reddit yet, but I'm like, there have to have been injuries at the Barclays Center.
I want to look at Reddit.
Or deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm sure I signed papers when I agreed. Like, I'm sure whatever Ticketmaster flow I went through was like, and FYI, if you die, of course, all of your savings go to Ticketmaster LLC.
Sure. Yeah,
like, I'm sure I signed a lot over. But the note, there do need to be warnings for people who, because I'm like, I'm afraid of heights, sure. I'm afraid of heights the way that people are afraid of sharks. Like, I'm like, that thing could kill me. But it's not something that would prevent me from doing something height oriented.
Right.
I'm sure there are people who are like frozen in fear up there, unable to move or function.
People, yeah.
I am those people.
I think that they should have like you attached to like a harness or something, because that then would make it like I could really move around.
No, like
and feel
what
safe.
They do when people climb the Sydney Opera House or whatever. I'm like, put me in bungee gear.
And then you could honestly be like vibing and floating around.
Oh, if I knew like that I was strapped to something, there should be carabiners on the back of.
Yeah.
And just a little belt loop action.
Just in case.
Like Charli's up there strapped to something while she,
flops
around,
I think that's a really genius idea.
And you could sell them. Like it doesn't have, you could upsell people on life-saving carabiners.
Charge like $42 for that.
Or you get someone who belays you the whole time. That would be the top tier. That would be the top tier thing. On belay on. It's just someone kind of puppeting you. That could be huge.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Do you remember, have you ever been like rock climbing with a human belay?
No.
Okay. Well, I just had all of these flashbacks to like me rock climbing during like summer camp programs, and the person belaying me was like a boy who was 12 years old and 82 pounds.
Yeah. No, it's like you could not save me if you
I'm
tried.
like, I can't believe that I am on the top of a rock face in a national park and
my life is in your hands.
You're wearing Vans.
Yeah.
With no socks. and somehow you're in charge of me.
And you're like kind of high.
Yeah. You're like, definitely, you're here because you're a little high.
I did ziplining once in West Virginia, don't ask. And
I mean, it's like the only place you can do it. That in Costa Rica.
Yeah. Those are the 2 licensed places.
Yeah.
And the guy who was my zipline guy was like fully stoned. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, well, you're snapping me in. Like, please make sure that I'm attached to this.
Yeah. He's like, I go based on vibes. Eyes are closed. Yeah. It's like, well.
He's like flirting with me. And I'm like, can we stay on track?
I'm like,
task
to
here?
be clear, I love this. But
no. Definitely let's hang out after, but
yeah, and of course, like if I do end up kind of seeing the light of day after this, I would love to maybe like get a drink or
coffee.
Yeah. It's always the people during those like ropes course things where it's like I have had 4 Monster Energy drinks and a lot of ketamine.
Yeah.
Get up there, girl.
It's adventure zone. Like this is what I was made for.
Yeah, no, exactly. Their slushie is spiked with like codeine.
I do wish
and they are drinking the icy slushies from.
I would like to do like an adventure. Well, we can get into this in my message in a bottle.
Okay.
But since my trip to Mexico, I've determined that life is about going on little trips. And I didn't realize that before. And now I know.
Well, how much time are we
have? We have 19 minutes.
Okay. Well, I feel like we'll get into it naturally. But did you leave your Mexico trip feeling like I should be going on more solo trips, or did you leave being like, I should go on trips with Isabelle?
Both.
Okay, cool.
Actually, so funny that you say that because while I was in Mexico on my solo trip, I did have moments where I was like, if someone else were to be here with me, like, who would that person be? Like, what kind of vibe would I want?
Mm-hmm.
And I was coming up pretty empty when it came to like people in my life currently who I would want to be there. And you were kind of like the main person that I was like, if Isabelle were here, like, it would be fun.
Well, it's fun because like in my, I love to imagine what it would be like for us. Like in my free time I have, of course, ideated about like, what would our solo trip look like together? I'm picturing so much comfortable silence.
Oh my God. Yeah.
A lot of parallel play with books, like a lot of us parallel reading next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of long walks. Like on a beach or on a very flat trail, no incline.
I could do a little bit of incline.
Okay,
just a little.
Yeah, but not crazy. Enough. You're not wearing hiking boots.
No boots.
Yeah.
But like a nature walk.
Yeah,
like we did in Rhinebeck.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like enough for us to be like, all right, there's a view, like something like there's a vista.
Yes.
And then gorgeous dinners. We're all dressed and we're fresh faced and we're a little sunburnt and maybe we had a nap before dinner.
You're describing my trip. Except I was by myself, but it was amazing. And every single night I like got dressed to the nines for dinner. Like,
of course,
I put on full face. Like that's why these guys fell in love with me because I like looked amazing everywhere I went.
Well, okay, so that was my other question. Like beyond the people who fell in love with you, did you make friends on the trip? Like,
no.
Did you? Okay, so it was just suitors and you.
Yeah.
Period.
It was, and the suitors were all members of the staff at this resort.
Okay, very White Lotus though. Very Vlad.
Yeah, it was
White
very
Lotus.
that. Yeah, it was great because I was like, I'm never gonna see you again. Like, I can just flirt to my heart's content.
Totally,
and no consequences.
So were you just turning heads all over the place? Where like, you know. I just want more intel about like what it was like to navigate a resort solo.
I think I was like pretty low key, honestly. I wasn't like doing a lot. And during the day, you know, when I was just at the beach, I was just chilling.
Did you have a routine? Like, did you do the same thing every day?
Kind of.
Okay.
There was one day when I went to the spa that was like a whole day in itself because the spa was like huge and I did like so much different stuff there. So that was like most of the day, but most of the other days were pretty much like the same, and it was so glorious.
My favorite part about any vacation is like eating breakfast like a normal person eats breakfast, where I'm like, actually I'm up at 9 a.m. and I am absolutely punishing the continental. You've never seen me go off on a continental the way I do on vacation.
And it was so good. The food was amazing.
Oh my God. And so, for lunch, were you getting things ordered poolside? Like, how are you approaching your...
I didn't do lunch.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
There was one restaurant that I would go to like mid-afternoon for a little snack or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't like super hungry. all the time.
Well, I feel like it's hard if it's like hot and you're just baking in the sun.
And I'm literally like not moving my body.
Of course.
So I was just kind of like vibing.
Yeah.
And they had little snacks in the room and stuff. So I would sometimes do
snacks
that.
in the room?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like chips and like cashews and
Ooh.
little Snickers bars and stuff.
Oh yeah, those would go ahead and be my favorites.
And you know what else? Not to like go off about this trip, but this was such a small touch, but the housekeeping would like notice the things that I would be like I was using in the minibar, and they would like make sure to put a lot more of those like little coffee pods and like whatever, all the things I was eating, they would like put many extras. And I was like,
that attention to detail actually is going to go ahead and bring a tear to my eye.
Yeah.
That's pretty major to me.
Yeah, I felt like such a queen. And honestly, I needed that.
The only time that's ever kind of like remotely happened to me is I feel like I was like somewhere at work and or somewhere for work, and I like went out and got myself like a chocolate bar that I would just like break pieces off of and eat in bed while I watched House Hunters, whatever. I won't get into it. And same thing, they noticed that was a thing, and they would like put a little napkin under it and leave it out on the bedside. Like,
oh my God.
They didn't move it anywhere. Like, they just knew that was its sacred place, and they would put little napkins next to it.
I never feel so special than when they like notice those
I know. I'm
things.
like, I'm a little princess. I'm your little princess.
And I literally was.
Oh my! Would you go back to that very place?
I would, in theory, but I also like at this point, I want to be going to like different places.
Of course.
But if I were to like return to that same like area,
yeah,
I think I would go back there.
It seems like a very safe setting for a solo trip.
Yeah.
In that, like, you're not. Did you leave campus at all? Like, were you there? Yeah.
Did not leave campus.
Yeah. No. Well, of course. I mean, like, the one time I went to an all-inclusive place, we left once, and it was like such an affront that I had to leave my safe haven.
I would have done it if I had been with someone else and they wanted to like do an adventure thing. Like,
sure.
I'm not opposed to doing that. It was just, I think, being alone.
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to. And
it's self-contained.
Yeah.
Everything you have
Everything I needed was already there. To answer your question, it did make me want to go on more solo trips, but it also made me want to go on, like, really, I want like a boyfriend.
Yeah. Sure.
Really, I want a boyfriend to go on
truly
trips
what
with.
my learning was that I need to be hitched.
Just because like I want to go places and do stuff.
Sure.
But I find it hard to do stuff when I'm alone.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, if I'm just by myself, I'm going to wander around and like go into a bookstore and like, it's just hard for me to like, action orient myself.
No, for sure. And like, I feel like it's nice to have, like, especially on vacation too. It's like if I'm left to my own devices, like I find 3 things that I like, and
it could doing those things.
Literally, it could be the Maldives, and I'm like, I will be just doing those 3 things the entire time because I'm a routine person. That's the way it is.
Right.
But if you're sharing, of course, routines with someone else, that doesn't fly as much. So,
and a lot of times, like they have ideas for what they want to do, and I'm like, perfect. Because I don't have any ideas.
Yes.
So let's just do what you want, and I'll have such a good time.
Oh, 100. Like I'm a very good endorser of other people's ideas, and I will, of course, push back if I'm not interested. Yeah. But yeah, I really don't bring much to the table on vacation. Actually,
Same.
Like I need to have a doer, and I'm a very good follower.
Okay, so we need a third.
We need a third
because that's not yeah.
Michaela, when outside of like a Parker
great.
context, Michaela is my doer.
Yeah,
like I just kind of show up Raggedy Ann style, and she's like, and here's what you're gonna wear, and here's what we're gonna eat, and please don't say these 3 things out loud. Perfect. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Yeah. Whatever works for you works for me.
I need that in my life.
Yeah, no, I'm a good sycophant on vacation.
Should we get into our final segment?
I can't believe
this went by in such a blink of an eye.
Oh, I mean, childbirth will do that to you.
Yeah, seriously. They grow up so fast.
Let's do it.
Okay. Our closing segment of this podcast is called Message in a Bottle, and it's where we take something from our daily life that we want to shout out and express gratitude towards, and we do that. We do that. And it helps us connect with the magic of the universe, Would you like to go first?
Couldn't have said it better. And yes, so my message in a bottle goes out to firefighters. Whoa. I was on my way back from a yoga class yesterday, and
not with Anna Sophia Robb.
No, certainly not. Well, I'm not allowed back there, as we've discussed.
Yeah, lifetime
so no,
ban.
I've been barred. There is a restraining order. But like, and it's normal, of course, in any part of this city to have fire trucks go by. But I'm noticing that a lot of fire trucks are going by, like 10, and a lot of ambulances start going by. And I'm like, oh God, okay. And then, of course, anything that's moving in the direction of my home, I'm like, it's my apartment.
Oh, same.
My apartment's on fire. My dog is in there. I'm like, never mind about Parker. My dog is in that apartment. And like, so I start hustling. And literally, like, the closer I get to my apartment, it's clear that that's where all of these fire trucks are gathering. It's not my apartment, thankfully, but it's like one street over.
It's Orna's.
It's Orna's. I mean, that's even worse.
No,
that loss, $2,000 to even entertain. But anyway, there's a brownstone a couple doors down from my building, or like one street down from my building, that had been, according to people who were gathering around it, like engulfed in flame. Like the 2 top floors, there were like flames bursting out. And like everyone's gathering around, and obviously, I am the type of person, because I'm now watching The Pit, I believe I should be close to the action.
Okay.
I should be in the belly of the beast.
You should be inhaling the smoke.
I should be right. I should be the one to unburden those who are near it. And so again, I'm not sure if this is kind of uncouth, but I do kind of walk towards the scene of the crime.
Sure.
And I arrived there at a portion of the fire. The fire had been put out at this point, but they were still very much in like crisis management mode. And the 2 top floors of this brownstone are charred. Like,
so sad. Looks
like they were, like the outside of the building was on fire.
Looks like they were on fire.
Looks like, hey, you know what it looks like? Like there was a fire. And there's a bunch of firefighters who are like breaking out windows that are still there, and they're hosing things down. And they're throwing like smoldering things out of the window.
Oh. Like
rugs, pillows, anything that's like remotely flammable is like coming out of these windows. There's a helipad where they were launching drones to like assess the fire from the front. Mind you, I'm literally at the door of this apartment. Yeah. I'm like,
hey.
I'm like, oh my God, like, how is everyone? These guys are miracle workers. Yeah. They were moving so quickly. They were so calm. They were taking the time to check in on neighbors who were coming out. They also they just know how to delegate. Like there were people who were on fire crisis management mode. There were people who were on neighbor management mode. And then there were people, of course, on me management mode where they're like, hey, ma'am, and as a reminder, like maybe other side of the street.
Right. We actually don't have the staff to deal with you.
Right. No. And actually, can you move out of the doorway of the burning building? That would be fantastic. And they were like taking these breaks. They were running. They were drinking Gatorade. Like they were replenishing themselves. And they got the whole situation under control. There were no injuries. But my favorite part was that I literally witnessed what I thought was like, you know, kind of like the most life-affirming moment. And I was like, this was a career-defining moment, no doubt, for these firefighters. And apparently it was like a 2-fire alarm or whatever that means. Like, it's basically like the level before it's clear that it's like a full-blown crisis. So of course I'm sitting there. I'm like, I've watched these firefighters have a career. Like I've seen them kind of grow and evolve in this one role.
Yeah.
Which clearly was not the case, because this guy comes over out of the building and he's like completely nonchalant. He takes off his helmet and he like goes up to one of the guys who was like looking at the drone footage, and he puts his arm on the guy's shoulder, and the guy was like, what's up? He's like, not much. The guy was like, do you have plans tonight? He's like, I guess take my wife out because she'll bust my balls if I don't. I was like, okay, so this is not serious at all.
No, it's just another day at the office.
I should leave.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've become completely obsessed with the notion of firemen.
Yeah.
I've learned that they all carry door stops on their helmets, like with a rubber strap around it.
Oh.
As like a just in case they need to like pry a window open or keep a door open.
Yeah. Ugh.
There was a female firefighter there, and her doorstop was hot pink.
Love that for her.
I know.
Queen.
I know.
No, I totally co-sign the love of firefighters. I think that they get sometimes lumped in with like cops and stuff. And it's like, let's make sure that we delineate.
There's a distinction here.
Because some of these people are heroes.
They are not playing Candy Crush. They are climbing to the top of that building. They're
so strong. They had to carry a lot of like stuff with them.
Well, I saw one of them derobe because, of course, I was standing where I wasn't supposed to be.
And I'm like, let's see. I
was
like
in their changing room. I was like, I'm like, no, take your time. Take your time.
Yeah.
Little slower.
Tease me.
But they are wearing like minimum 40 pounds of clothes.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's insane. And then they're running up and down these steps. It's no wonder that they had like a literal Gatorade station set up. But it was also really cute. And thinking of Mason, or what we were talking about Mason made me think of this, but there were a bunch of little kids who were just like slack-jawed looking at this all happen. Because it is like real life rescue hero behavior. And then I was like, all y'all are going to be marketers one day. Like, I understand that you think this is your path, but
you're going to be typing away in FIDE.
You will be in Excel sheets, I'm afraid.
Most of you.
But we can dream. We love a dreamer.
And hey, like, if you want to do service, then do that.
Right.
But I guarantee when you get to be a normal age, you're going to realize that you'd rather be pencil pushing or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, you're going to be taking a lot of Zoom calls from home.
Totally.
So anyway, it was completely life affirming. There are good people out there who are employed to save lives and do it without blinking, and then go back to making fun of their wife for busting their balls. But
hey, the old ball and chain.
The old ball and chain. Well, actually, and then I'll let you go because
we're gonna go over a little bit.
But,
Sorry.
There were at the end of the wedding night, we go to a bar in Red Hook called the Ice House. Fantastic spot.
Oh, I didn't get to go there.
And it was like maybe 4 of us. We should not have been there.
It was raining. I was like, I can't do this.
It was pretty bleak to get there. But they noticed that Parker had just gotten married. And they were like, show me the ball, show me the chain. And I was like, ball? He was like, chain? And then the whole bar starts cheering, where the balls at?
Okay. Wow. I'm sad I missed that.
Well, Parker and I were like, are we dreaming? Is this like a substance related thing or is this happening?
Yeah. Oh my God. I forgot to mention the funniest thing that happened at your wedding.
No.
Which was at the after party. This is related to my boobs. There was like a guy there who was super drunk, like absolutely sloshed.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me and it's like clear that he's like hitting on me.
Sure.
And he's like, can I ask you something? And I was like, sure. And he goes, is that a milkmaid dress?
Oh no.
And I was like, you can just say you like my tits. Like,
is that a milkmaid? Oh,
and he was like, no. I didn't mean it. I just thought because it's like and I was like, you're.
He's like, because I want to milk you. I don't know.
And I was like, what a funny way for someone to comment on my boobs.
Oh man. Whoa, I'm so sweaty. That is ridiculous. There was one pretty drunk offender there.
Yeah.
We can exchange some more stories about that person. But
honestly,
opinions were had.
That could be my message in a bottle. It wasn't, but
I want to hear your actual one because I interrupted and made you talk about my wedding again.
Okay, well, I'll make it quick. My message in a bottle goes out to the ocean.
Hell yeah. Which
is in line with the theme of this podcast. I feel like maybe I've done a message in a bottle about this before, but I'm going to do it again if I have. So it actually was the Caribbean Sea that I was in Mexico, but we'll just say ocean for consistency's sake.
Of course.
I had a spiritual experience in the ocean because I went into the ocean and I was like, whoa, like this really is what feeling emotions is, like waves.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I know that people liken those two things, water, emotion, whatever, but like being in the waves and experiencing that, I was like, I just had a new depth of gratitude for like, and just whoa, like nature is crazy and like
so powerful.
Waves are insane, and the fact that they just happen and that like there's such a correlation to our physical human bodies and like how they work. And of course the ocean is not resisting the waves. It's not saying that the waves should go away. It's just allowing them. And so we should just do that with our own feelings sometimes.
That's such an apt comparison because I think our bodies like the earth, are mostly water.
They're mostly water.
Yeah. But you're so right. There is something just like, and I think that's why so much fear stems from the ocean, where it's just like, you are so beyond the earthly realm. Like, you are literally controlled.
You're so powerful
by the moon.
Yeah.
Like, everything about you is not physically present with my reality.
Yeah.
Like, you are just, and you're so deep and so vast, and there's so much we don't know about the ocean. And yeah, you really, I feel like you kind of submit to it when you're in it, which is such a scary thing.
Yes. And like, there's such a difference when you're in the ocean between like when you are bracing for a wave coming versus when you just allow and like kind of move with it. Like, that is such a good metaphor for life in general, is like better to just kind of move with the waves rather than try to resist them, because you're not going to make it go away.
No.
And it's
like,
just going to hit you.
You have to move. Because there's that breaking point at the beach where it's like, this is where you're going to get thrashed around and tossed around, and your bathing suit is going to fall off.
Right.
But when you're beyond that and you can like lie on your back and float over the waves as they come in, is there anything more?
There's nothing better.
Relaxing. But that is such a good metaphor for life, that we do have to muscle through the breaking point to just get to the normal waves.
So we will continue to do that as we muscle through this new era of our podcast.
Last question about the ocean.
Yeah.
Were you doing any like laying on your back and listening underwater?
No, I didn't do that.
It's scary.
It is, because it's, yeah.
You just hear the vastness of it. It's in such a way.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah. But I love the vastness of our own ocean.
Our own little ocean.
And the waves that come and go as they do.
And the waves of followers that.
And the waves of followers who, of course, are somewhere. The moon has yet to bring you to us, but wherever you are, we'll be here when you get here. Yeah. And for the fish who are already in our ocean,
we love you.
We love you so much.
Okay, well,
this was a treat.
That's it on this episode of Floundering Podcast.
And we will be back actually next time.
Yeah, we'll be back. So thank you.
Love you guys.
Bye.